Hi guys, it's Sierra. I came on today because I have been trying to upload this video forever. I made these last week. They are my loaded sewing theme envelopes. I'm actually making a couple more as we speak. They're so fun to make and I really enjoyed it. These two are already sold, but I have tons of vintage buttons, so I'm just completely loving making these. So I'll go ahead and start with this first one. And so the first thing I did was I made the envelope, which I think I have a tutorial on it, but yeah, I made the envelope and then I made everything to stick in the pockets. So, and just embellish it so people could have fun and use these pieces on, maybe junk journals or whatever they like. So these have some button cards in it, and I just really like how they turned out. They're almost all vintage buttons, and they're really sweet. So I put lots of button cards in here because I've been really having a lot of fun making these button cards. And I think if you were making like an old vintage style junk journal, these button cards would just be awesome to put in your little junk journals. And then I made some other, these are made out of cardboard, and I made some of these tags to hold the fibers. And then also there's some beautiful lace on here too that's vintage. And so I have this is just some vintage muslin that I took and tore into longer pieces because if I know anyone like me, I really like to use these pieces on projects. They really stand out nicely. I also made some just extra tags to put in here, which are really fun and sweet. And you have all those. And then I also made these, which are really fun, which is I just took some muslin and I went ahead and completely sewed these beautiful trims with muslin as the base and then flowers and then vintage buttons all along the whole trim. So I really like making my own trims. It's super fun. I'll definitely have to do a tutorial on it one day. But they're fun, and I thought these fit just perfectly in with this card, and it was just a lot of fun to make. So there's that. And then also I have, these little safety pins are so super sweet, and I loved putting a little button on it because it makes opening it so much easier. And also I thought they were really cute to put on the top of the button cards. I was going to write button cards on all these, but I didn't like how the pen was working, so kind of just left it simple for the person who purchased it, and they could write that if they want, or just leave it how it is. So again, vintage button card. Here's another one that I made, and this is really cool, vintage button. It's a little jingle bell, so I just love these buttons. Like these two buttons aren't vintage, they're just wood buttons, but I thought it looked really good with all the rest of the buttons. I'm a button-aholic, if you can't tell. And then these are again just two like trims that I put on a card that I distressed the edges on. So it's really stable and sturdy. And then on the front, I hooked on another one where I put another vintage button on here, and then some vintage trim with another little clip with a vintage button on it. And same with this one. It's another little card that I made, and I just love how these turned out. They're so sweet. I just love vintage buttons. And then this is another one with some vintage lace on it, and a vintage button on a little cool, I forget what these are called, these bulb pins. I don't know why I can't think of what the name is, but I really like this vintage button that's on it, and so I hung it on there. Then another one with some vintage lace. And then I also made a little charm with some, you can see some of the fibers, and then I just put the buttons on, and you can cut them off as you want to use them. And these are like really good heavy duty vintage buttons. You can see the shield, and then this is a really sweet one, and then at the bottom is really sweet too. And then I just put on some oh, and there's another button up here that's super old. And then I put some little jingle bells on here too. Flower and a button. I hooked it all to a little clip, so it'll clip right on to the side. So I really love how these turned out and how it looks. And yeah, if anyone's interested in any of these, I've already sold these too. They sold before I even made or got my video out. So they're sold, but if you're interested in anything like this, I definitely can make repeats. Not of the same exact buttons, of course, because I only got, you know, one of each button because they're vintage buttons. But I made this dangle as well and safety pinned the button to the back, and then sewed these buttons on and did another little flower with a button. So this is just another little dangle. And then again, made some more button cards with the vintage buttons and a little vintage lace card with another ball pin and a cool older vintage button, which is sweet. And some more vintage lace. There's even a button on here too, and I just put it down with a safety pin. And then another little thing, and this is another trim that I made with the vintage buttons and the vintage lace and the muslin. It was really fun. I really enjoy making these. They do take a lot of time to hand sew everything, but it's definitely fun and worth it in the end to me. So here's some more vintage lace that I put on a card, more vintage buttons for a button card, and again more vintage lace on a lace card. It's pretty much a repeat of the last one, so it's pretty much the same stuff, just different paper. It's the same paper line, but different paper. And then in this one, I also put on some of this very beautiful silk, 100% silk ribbon. This is actually made for ribbon embroidery, but I just absolutely love it for making tassels and everything. It's just gorgeous. And it's variegated champagne and pink, so it's so yummy. Some more fiber. In this one, I even folded up a doily and put some little muslin tie around it. This is all decorative purposes, but these are all definitely fun things that you can use in your junk journals or anything really, or just keep the whole envelope as, you know, something you set on your shelf, or use the pieces here and there when using them. So these are just some more tags that I made with the paper line. So, and they're in the back. So, oops. So that's it for the loaded envelopes, and I hope you guys really like them. They're so much fun to make. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate your time, and sorry this video took so long. This video was made especially for Fonda, so sorry this took so long to get up. I ended up actually having to remake the video, so I will get your stuff mailed out to you super early next week. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you think when you get them, sweetie. All right, thanks guys. And if you are interested in anything like this, a loaded envelope with some vintage buttons and trims and everything, I love making them. Just PM me on Facebook and I can definitely make you one. All right, thanks ladies. And gentlemen, I did see that I have a new subscriber named Scott. So hi Scott, thank you so much for dropping by and your sweet comments. And also my husband watches my videos, so thank you, Mr. Miller. Love you. And yeah, I just really want to thank you guys for watching my videos, and I hope they inspire you. And if you do get inspired and you decide you want to make something like this, I would love to see it. So please share links below. That would be awesome. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. See y'all soon. Bye.